It's almost the most wonderful time of the year for Tenno in the Origin system and beyond. It's TennoCon weekend. The yearly convention for our favorite game is finally here this weekend, and with it comes the Baro Ki'teer Special Relay, where our Void Trader brings every single item that he's ever offered all at once for you to purchase with ducats and credits. Today we're going to cover the weapons and mods that I personally think every Tenno should grab if they don't already own it, to try to help you all in planning out your purchases so that you can level up your builds and playtime in Warframe. Before that though, let's cover how you can access the special relay, how to get ducats for our newer players, some disclaimer on my recommendations, and then of course get into those recommendations. I'll also include chapters to make your life a bit easier in finding the different things and categories. Firstly, you'll need to buy the TennoCon 2025 digital pack in order to access the Baro Ki'teer TennoCon Relay. It's only purchasable for real-world currency, and at the time of writing, it's $24.99 US dollars or $29.99 Canadian, and can be purchased in the in-game market terminal or via the Warframe's website. The pack comes with 475 Platinum, a Regal Aya which can be spent at Varzia and Maru's Relay on Mars, the Rift Guard emote and its 2 signed Donnas, which might just be the best signed Donna in the game if I'm gonna be honest, the TennoCon 2025 Glyph and Sigil, a TennoCon bandana cosmetic for your Drifter or Operator, and of course the Baro Relay ticket itself. This is definitely worth the price, if anything just for the Platinum and the Regal Aya, as you get 475 Platinum and 375 Platinum is currently $21.99 Canadian, so you're basically only paying for the plat, and everything else is free goodies for you to enjoy, making this, in my opinion, worth the investment. This pack is also, to my knowledge, the only way for you to access the special Baro Relay, so if you're wanting to take advantage of it, you must purchase this pack. The relay is around from July 19th till 26th this year, so if you're low on resources, make sure to spend some time over the next few days to get grinding for all the goodies you want to purchase. Next, the main currency you need to purchase items from Baro is called Ducats, which can be earned via trading prime parts and blueprints to the terminals in the center room of any non-Maru relay. And depending on which style of relay it is, as I can't remember which one the Baro one is going to show up in, it's a bit of a different spot, so while I'm talking, the footage is showing you where you can find it in each variety of relay. If you're super new to the game, prime parts and blueprints can be farmed in Void Fisher missions, where you and each of your squad mates bring in a single relic, collect reactants that drop from corrupted enemies to open the relic, and at the mission checkpoint in endless missions or at the end of mission for non-endless missions, you'll get to select one of the items that you and your squad have opened and rinse and repeat. If you're really hungry for ducats, capture is typically the fastest relic mission out there, so keep an eye out for that one specifically. Generally speaking, common rank items are worth 15 ducats, uncommons are 45, and rares are 100. You'll also need credits, which friend of the channel iFlynn has made an extensive guide on how to best farm these days, which I've linked in the description for you to check out when you're done here. Now for a quick disclaimer. Everything is up to date to the best of my knowledge before the relay opens up, as I'm currently at the time that this video is going live on a train on my way to TennoCon myself. So if you're there and you see me, make sure to say hi, I'd love to meet you. If they've added any new items or mods to the relay, I of course won't be able to tell you about it, as I'm making this before the relay's open, so keep that in mind. But I'll do my best to include that in a pinned comment on this video once I know about it, if anything new shows up. The other is, for the sake of all of our time, I'm only going to be going over the items that I think that you should own that have in-mission impact. I won't be covering the hundreds of cosmetics, the different boosters, enemy boss beacons, decorations, all of that, what have you. These are things that you should grab if you want to, or if you have the spare resources you like the look of, or you just need to stock up on some boosters for your farming endeavors. However, there are 2 caveats for this to keep in mind. Mod drop chance boosters only come from Baro or rare rewards for in-game activities and can't be purchased with Platinum, so they're a bit of a special case and might be worth stocking up on. The second is, if you don't have a resource booster active, I might pick up one of those right away to improve your reactant drops, so you can increase the likelihood of getting uncommon and rare prime parts and blueprints by leveling up your relics, which as we said are worth more ducats, and thus may be worth the initial investment to better your overall ducat farming for the relay. With that out of the way, let's get into the items he has in my recommendations. There's one companion that he offers, being the Prisma Shade, which can be quite good, but there's also a prime version of it which is just generally superior than the Prisma. However, don't forget that companions come with their weapon, so you'll also get the Prisma Burst Laser. And if anything, it's worthwhile to pick it up for the 9,000 mastery combined that you get from the Burst Laser and the Shade. Baro also has some relics that are specific to him, unless of course they appear in a prime resurgence, which can happen from time to time. I'd recommend stocking up on some of these if you need any of the primes contained in the relics, but as always that could be a bit of a crapshoot, so you may want to hold off on picking up relics until you grab some of the more important things. These special relics contain the prime parts and blueprints for Volt, the Odinata Arcwing, the Lex and the Aklex, the Magnus and Akmagnus, and the Vasto and Akvasto. And just for your information, the single Lex, Vasto, and Magnus are also available outside of Baro depending on the current vaultings and resurgences, but the combined versions are, to my knowledge, Baro exclusives. Let's get into the weapons that I'd recommend that you pick up. Firstly is the Prisma Gorgon, Prisma Angstrom, and Prisma Skana. All three of these weapons have incarnate adapters, which really brings them to the next level of power and are overall fantastic choices to pick up. They're great in the lower levels without the incarnate, but that really does bring them into endgame viability and power. From there, I'd grab weapons that, while don't have incarnates, are still good into the late game, being the Gotva Prime, Vastalok, Veracrez, Prisma Lens, Prisma Oma, Prisma Obex, Quanta Vandal, and Halakar Wraith, all of which have fantastic early and endgame potential, and each have their own unique playstyles. The Opticore Vandal can be earned from doing the Thermia Fractures event that shows up every couple of weeks, so I'd personally recommend farming it, as the reward version of the Opticore comes with a weapon slot and Orc and Catalyst, saving you 26 platinum in the future. The Ignis Wraith blueprint can be grabbed from your clan dojo if your clan rank is 10 or above, or from doing the side objectives in Vale Proxima Grenier Railjack missions, so you can also farm this one. The other weapons available are the Prisma Twin Gremlins, Dual Cleavers, Machete, Tetra, Grikata, and Grinlock, the Supra Pruva and Glaxian Vandals, the regular Zyalok, the Marodetron, and the Machete, Volcar, and Viper Wraiths. These just mentioned weapons have potential, but at least in my opinion aren't super necessary to grab if you're running low on resources. He also has two arc weapons, the Prisma Dual Decurions and Prisma Veritex, which are both fine weapons for that game mode. Alright, now we're on to the marathon of mod options. This is where you're going to be wanting to spend the most of your ducats, as these mods are a major force multiplier in Warframe and will take you to the next level of damage and survivability. We're first going to go over Warframe and companion mods, then primary weapons being shotguns and rifles, secondary, melee, and then whatever's left after that. For Warframe mods, there's two I'd highly recommend grabbing, being Prime Continuity and Primed Flow. These two mods are super important to have as they're used in a ton of builds. Nearly every single one of my endgame builds has at least one, if not both, of these Prime mods. If you're a bit worried about your ducat stockpiles though, you can also use the Archon variety of these, as they have the exact same stats as the Prime version and have a neat extra effect. You can get the Archon mods by doing the Veilbreaker quest and then the weekly mission with Call at the Drifters camp on Earth. They do cost a bit more mod capacity than the regular Prime variants, and that can mean the difference between needing to form a frame or not, and that's usually the reason why I go for the primed ones over the Archons. There's also Prime Redirection, which is a must-have mod if you're someone like me who loves shield tank frames like Hildren, Caliban, or Haro, but otherwise it's a nice-to-have mod. Companions also have three mods, Primed Regen, Prime Pack Leader, and Primed Animal Instincts. Out of these three, I only really think that Primed Animal Instincts is a must-own due to the utility that it brings you in missions. Having enemy and loot radar makes it much easier for you to plan how you're going to be moving around in missions. And once you're used to using your radar more, you'll notice a major increase in your effectiveness in missions. The other two are nice-to-haves, making your companions more survivable through healing and overguard generation in the case of Pack Leader, or quicker to respawn with Prime Regen. Both of which can be especially useful depending on your builds, but aren't 100% necessary, so you could skip on these if you're concerned about your ducats. Shotguns and rifles have a ton of mods between the two of them, so we're going to separate them to make your life a little bit easier. First up is shotguns. The first mod I'd pick up is Prime Charge Shell and Prime Chilling Grasp. These two are fantastic and will drastically increase the damage of all your shotguns. If you have to choose between the two though, I'd personally say pick up Prime Chilling Grasp first and then Prime Charge Shell, but it's completely dependent on personal preference and what elements you like the most on your shotguns. From there, I'd pick up Prime Point Blank and Primed Ravage to increase your regular damage and give your critical base shotguns a major boost. Next, I'd grab your Cleanse Faction mods, which are major damage increasing mods, but are something that not everyone, including myself, likes to use because honestly, I'm just too lazy to swap my mods around every mission. But when used properly, they'll drastically increase your damage. And lastly, for the Prime mods, I'd grab the utility ones like Primed Counterbalance, Ammo Stock, Tactical Pump, and Shotgun Ammo Mutation. They can be helpful on some builds, but I won't lie, I very rarely use any of these. Otherwise, he has all four of the 60/60 elemental mods, which for shotguns are all farmable in-game, but can be a bit frustrating if you don't like their mission types. However, you 100% should own all four of these either way. He also has the 120% Impact, Puncture, and Slash mods as well. All three of these are drops from the Eidolon bosses on the plains of Eidolon, so they are farmable if you feel like it. On to rifles, the first mod I'd pick up is Prime Cryo Rounds. Most of my rifle builds has this mod on it these days between Viral Blast and Primary Frostbite. It's nearly always an auto-include for me on rifles. From there, I'd pick up Prime Firestorm if you like big explosive weapons like the Tenno Envoy, as this will do a lot more than you may think to increase their effective area. After that, there's the Bane mods for the various factions, and like I said earlier, can be incredibly powerful if you're not super lazy like me. For the utility mods, I'd actually pick up Prime Stabilizer, as I've been finding myself using this quite a bit, but it's more of a nice to have than a need to have. And the Prime Sniper Ammo mutation is definitely something you should pick up, especially if you like AoE weapons, as some of them use sniper ammo drops and have very low ammo supply. Otherwise, the other utility mods like Rifle Ammo Mutation, Fast Hands, and Magazine Warp have their uses, but just like with shotguns, they aren't super necessary. For non-prime mods, again, he has all 4 of the elemental 6060s, and again, like shotguns, all these are farmable in-game, but you should 100% own all 4 of them, so make sure to pick up any that you don't want to farm for. Once again, there's also the IPS mods, which also come from Eidolons if you want to farm them. Now there's 2 special mods I'd also pick up in the rifle category. Split Flights is an amazing bow multi-shot mod which is fantastic for non-AoE bows in the game, like the Dread in Paris with their Incarnants. The other special one is Prime Chamber, which at one point in time was the most expensive mod in the game, going for tens of thousands of platinum, but it hasn't really been all that important for a long while now. Pick it up if you feel like it or if you want to bank on a future sniper medal, but it is 2,995 ducats, so yeah, plan accordingly. Secondary weapons have some really important prime mods, like game-changing for the category, so I would definitely recommend picking up as many of these as you can. The 4 most important would have to be Primed Heated Charge, Primed Convulsion, Prime Pistol Gambit, and Prime Target Cracker. Most of my secondary builds have some, if not most of these mods on them because of just how powerful they are, and how much they'll improve your damage. From there, I'd pick up Prime Fulmination to increase your AoE secondaries radius massively, and then the Expel mods for the various factions if you like them. And again, of the utility mods, I'd grab Prime Steady Hands, which I personally enjoy, and Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation can be helpful especially on some of the weapons that have low ammo supply like the Angstrom and Coda Pox. The other Prime utility mods, Primed Quick Draw and Slip Magazine, aren't necessary but do have their uses depending on your build and weapon. Unlike shotguns and rifles, not all of the pistol 6060s are farmable, specifically Jolt, which is a Baro exclusive mod. So I'd recommend grabbing it and maybe even stockpiling on some spares to sell for plat later on in the year. The other 3 are farmable though. And once again, the IPS mods are farmable from Eidolons, so I wouldn't be too worried about them personally. Alright, now on to melee mods. There's 3 prime mods that are really important for melee builds. Primed Reach is incredible and one that I use on many of my builds. More range on your melee means that it can hit more enemies with each attack, giving them a pseudo AoE effect. Primed Fever Strike is another must-have, as Toxin is such a high-value element for combining elements and for the mod's damage on top of that. The last of the important ones is Prime Pressure Point, which depending on the weapon can be incredibly powerful, but many players swear by Condition Overload, and there's also Sacrificial Pressure, which is nice if you're using Sacrificial Steel to increase its critical chance through the set bonus. So you could skip Prime Pressure Point if you really need to, but I would still recommend picking it up as it does have its uses. Then there's the Smite mods if you like faction mods, and Primed Heavy Trauma can be useful as you can use both it and Collision Force at the same time, giving some weapons a major boost to their damage, such as Atlas's Landslide Exalted Weapon, but honestly it's kind of a skippable one because of how niche it is. From there, there's 3 stance mods Baro offers: Astral Twilight, Vermilion Storm, and Temple Royale. Melee stances are incredibly important to Warframe as each will have different attack patterns and even damage, so make sure that you have a wide variety of stance mods as you can, if anything, for build diversity, but these 3 specifically are also farmable in-game, so you may not need to pick them up from Baro if you're happy to invest the time into it. Like pistols, the Electric 6060 Voltaic Strike is a Baro exclusive mod, so 100% grab it here, especially with how powerful the melee influence arcane is right now. He also has the other 6060s, which again are farmable, so grab them to save time or farm them to save ducats. And just like all the others, the IPS mods are also available but farmable, so skip them if you feel like it. There's also 3 special mods for thrown melees like the Glaive Prime or Zoras, being Combo Fury, Combo Killer, and Mark of the Beast, all of which are currently Baro exclusives. You don't see these used too often these days because of mod space limitations, but Mark of the Beast and Combo Fury can be pretty good with some weapon combinations. And finally, we have a few prime mods for Arc Wing and Arc Weapons. If you like these kinds of weapons or game mode, I would definitely pick up Prime Rubido Lined Barrel and Prime Dual Rounds first, as they're good on any arc gun, with Prime Deadly Efficiency and Morphic Transformer being optional and nice to haves if you really want to own them. And finally, the most important mod that you totally must own, and this is 100% not sarcasm because I know somebody's already commented without watching the whole thing. Yes, I'm calling you out, I see you. Peculiar Audience, which is a meme mod that will occasionally cause a laughing sound effect every once in a while when you get a kill. In case the sarcasm wasn't clear, you don't need it. It's literally a meme. Alright, so there you have it. Those are the things that I would recommend you grab from the special TennoCon 2025 Baro Ki'teer Relay. As we said at the start, it'll be available from July 19th until the 26th to access the relay and pick up all of your goodies once you own the digital pack. So make sure to stock up on what you need, grab the cosmetics that make you happy, and let me know which cosmetics and decorations you'd recommend for your fellow Tenno in the comments. Is there a specific one that you think that every Tenno should own? A like on the video is always appreciated, and as always, sub for more tips and swing by my stream if you need any help. Happy TennoCon, everyone!